Hi, good morning, party people. It's a beautiful day in Milwaukee. It's June 24th, and it's hotter than freaking Hades. But we're gonna get rocking and rolling. So, uh, two things I'd leave with you first. It was funny. I came into the office yesterday in Heartland, and I saw a few of the ladies, and they said, "Oh, did you have a tough weekend?" I said, "No, why?" And they said, "Your voice is hoarse." I said, "Oh no, I'm just that dad because my 8-year-old had a baseball tournament in East Troy all weekend and he made it to the championship. And I was a very excited dad cheering on my little guy. It just cost me my voice on a Monday/Tuesday. So, anyways, that was fun. But on another note, so my theme for the group today via my text that I sent to you was slip and slides are all fun in the summer until they aren't. And that's a leading indicator. Slip and slides are always fun until they aren't. So pay attention of where I'm going with that, and we'll dive into a little bit here this morning. Mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. One of the things I want to touch on this morning, and we're going to celebrate a handful of folks, and this is a shout out to someone who sent me a text yesterday, and they know who they are. That was a little bit of a humble brag. Okay. And I loved it because here's why. If you aren't telling your story, somebody else is. And I would rather you control the narrative to your own story than somebody else tell it for you. Okay. Tell your story. Be proud of your accomplishments. Don't be shy in terms of what you're able to do for people or how you help people navigate complex situations. Because if you aren't telling your story, somebody else is, and then you don't control the narrative around your own story. Something to think about. With that, one quick operational update for you. Next week, Friday, is the 4th of July. All offices will be closed on the Friday, the 4th of July, and through the 4th of July weekend. Please note you have access to the offices 24/7. Just a few reminders for the group as we head into a variety of holidays and things. One, please make sure if you do have host meetings within the offices as they're closed, that please, we just ask that you put away your food and drink. When entering or exiting the building, any of the buildings, make sure that the doors are secured. Several instances where someone propped the door open for a client and then they leave the door open for the entire weekend. And then I come in on a Saturday morning and, oh, the door's wide open. So just make sure that you're helping usher clients in and out of any of our spaces. Make sure doors are locked. Sometimes the latches with this heat and humidity don't close all the way. And just want to remind you heading into next week, 4th of July holiday. With that, then we will be hosting a team meeting on Tuesday, July 1st. So just wanted to give you a heads up there. Cool. All right. With that, we have 26 people who capped in the month of May. It's a ton. And all of them have their stories to be told and love celebrating them. So let's jump into it. First up, right away, an incredible couple. Their third is on the way. They took a leap of faith into this business, and eventually Elise told Mike, "It's time to quit your job and jump into it with me." Congrats to Elise and Mike Bolt for capping in the month of May. Next up, out in Lake Country, killing it on social media, goes about her business, just quietly does her thing, building an incredible book of business, has had some challenges personally, I know, this year in 2025, and continues to just head down, do her thing. Tamara Bolton, congrats on capping in the month of May. Next up, our resident firefighter, if you didn't know this, Melissa Bradley, a woman of many talents, volunteer firefighter in and around the North Shore, also killing it in the game of real estate. Congrats to Melissa for capping in the month of May. Next up, out in Lake Country, our PC, the one who's always given back, a teacher at heart, used to be a teacher, continues to be a teacher, Mackenzie Brogan. Congrats on capping in the month of May. Now, got to give a shout out to the next person out in Madison. This person is the epitome that health is wealth. They've been on this health journey. They're absolutely killing the game in real estate. Health is wealth. They've been focused on themselves, and it's showing up in their results. Ben Brummel, congrats on capping in the month of May. Next up, don't find yourself on the east side at late night with this person. She'll take your money at the pool table with the Roman coin, because it's happened to me. Julie Bolgren, congrats on capping in the month of May. Next up, a silent assassin. Goes about her business the right way. High morals, high ethics, does her thing. Isn't the loudest agent, very soft-spoken, but just has a great energy about her. Christiane, congrats on capping in the month of May. On theme, another teacher at heart, someone who's always giving back in our community out in Prestige. Got to give a shout out to Mackenzie Collar for capping in the month of May. Next up, we call her the lieutenant. She's looking out for your backside to make sure that you stay out of jail because she doesn't want to arrest you. But she's always looking out for us, always giving back. Congrats to Lieutenant Steph for capping in the month of May. All right. Next up, this is an incredible person over in innovation, has been absolutely slaying the game now for the last couple years. Relatively newer agent to the game within the last 2 years. Got to give a shout out to Melena Cortez for capping in the month of May. Next up, this is a person, an investor, has a lot of real estate holdings down in Whitewater. Spends a lot of time down in Naples, Florida, and shows that you can find balance within your business and still have lots of success. Doreen Drummel, congrats on capping in the month of May. The legendary swimmer from Whitefish Bay High School, the guy was fast as hell in the pool, and I know it because I went to high school with him. Congrats to DJ Frisch for capping in the month of May. Next up, kind, caring soul who goes about her business the right way. Just a really, really incredible person. I see her in and around the community. Angela Funk, congrats for capping in the month of May. Another great story within our community, someone who used to have a job, who had challenges in life in terms of professionally not finding fulfillment, passion, and purpose, made a transition into this business, and you can feel the energy in which he shows up in the transition it's had in his life. Pete Gossman, congrats on capping in the month of May. Next up, young mom, killing it on social media, kills it with her energy, owns her community down in Oak Creek. Jessica Hanawi, congrats on capping in the month of May. All right. Heading back into the North Shore, also a young dad, has a true entrepreneur at heart, has multiple businesses in which that he operates. Congrats to Nick Janisek for capping in the month of May. All right, a handful more to celebrate. Hang with me here, guys, because remember, you have to be telling your story, and we love celebrating people's stories. Next up, over in innovation, a woman who is absolutely hustle, 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 moving a million miles an hour and building an incredible business at a very young age. Congrats on Abigail Jocko for capping in the month of May. Next up, another incredible entrepreneur over at the Innovation Office. Her and her husband not only do residential real estate sales, but also do incredible flips at a variety of price points. Congrats to Mara Krieger for capping in the month of May. Next up, got to give a shout out to this person. Her and her husband built a house, and they leveraged their contacts and networks in order to build a house, to sell it and give away all the profits to charity. Congrats to Kirsten Miller for capping in the month of May, and thank you for everything that you and Chris have done with the charity house over in Delafield. All right, next up, an incredible person who's learned how to navigate this business from a variety of ways. She was originally on the morphine drip of leads, has gotten off the morphine drip and has built the big business. Congrats on Ashley Meyer on capping in the month of May. Calm, cool, and collected. This dude just has the energy that everyone wants to be around. A little bit of that California surfer vibes at times. Is a great dad. I see him walking his dog and his kids to school almost every morning. Congrats to Guy Nicolette for capping in the month of May. Next up, another new agent who has just poured into mentors who have given her time, energy, and resources. Again, approaching it the right way and proving that you can have success in your 20s in this business. Congrats to Addie Prochnow for capping in the month of May. Four more. Sorry. Next up, an incredible spirit of energy, a Tasmanian devil when she walks in, will always give you a hug, has a huge smile. Congrats to Katie Rinka for capping in the month of May. Next, someone who's made a professional transition within her life over the last several years and jumped into this business, right? Learn how to take her background in a variety of other things professionally, raising a family, doing things and serving her clients at a high level. Congrats to Jen Tai for capping in the month of May. Next, I use this person as an example a lot with new agents to share the story of the power of your database and the power of your network can build a big business quickly. Congrats to Karen Trimble for capping in the month of May. And lastly, this is the epitome of the world who was run by those who show up, a relatively newer agent within our environment, and yet she shows up to everything. She's pouring into training and education, and she's going about her business the right way. Congrats to Mary Walgren for capping in the month of May. Ooh. So with that, a ton of people are having tons of success despite a tough and challenging and complex market. And it's incredibly exciting to be able to celebrate those folks that capped in the month of May. So let's transition into May awards. And give a shout out to a handful of folks. Here is your May Home Run Club for one listing taken, one contract written, one contract closed. Again, this is the list you want to be a part of. Why? Because it means you're doing the activities to get paid today and you're ensuring that you're going to get paid in the future. And this is the list you want to be a part of. Congrats to those that hit a home run in the month of May. Next up, $1 Million Month Club. This is minimum $1 million in production of closed production in the month of May. Again, an incredible list of people that are highly productive. Congrats to those that hit $1 million month in the month of May. All right, GCI for agents on a team year to date. Got to give a shout out to Martha Ola, Steph Miller, Melena Cortez, Stephanie Minnick, Casey Lopez, Becky Thomas, Ginger Lazovic, Jonathan Newby, Will Stallé, Abby Myers, Christiane Camera, Betsy Williamson, Angela Funk, and Emily Gilders rounding it out for agents on a team. All right, next up, percentage volume increase year to date. Agents who are absolutely killing the game from what they had last year in raising the productivity of their business. Got to give a shout out to Austin Miller, Jordan Tybinko, Gallagher Lake Country, House to Home, Mary Walgren, Jan Van Dalm, Shireen Woods, David Lopez, Levine Realty, A Key Home, Julie Bolgren, the Gossman Group, Jess Annabelle, Angela Kai, and Allison Maris for agents who have had the highest percentage increase year to date. All right, May individual volume. She's been on here a lot. Got to give a shout out to Mary Walgren leading the way at 3.9. Mary Deacon, number 2 for the month of May. Jay Menger, Sarah Oberbrunner, Kristen Stahulik, Nada, Guy, Melissa, Abby, Alexandra, Judy Moffett, Lindsay Andrews, Ethan Masson, Colleen Grams, Joey Carini, Jackie Reinisch-Knipe, Michaela Collar, Sarah Dreyer, Nick Jensen, and Deborah Bolton, rounding it out for individual volume for the month of May. Year to date, again, the market gives you volume. Agents control their units. Focus on your controllables and the volume will come. Year to date, individual units, Molitor leading the way, Lindsay Andrews 2, Sarah Oberbrunner 3, Abby Wall, Joey Carini, Alexandra, Kristen Stahulik, Melissa Bradley, Judy Moffett, Sarah Dreyer, CJ Lewandowski, Allison Maris, Shireen Woods, Ethan Masson, Becky, Jessica Hanawi, Jill Fink, Mary Deacon, Michaela Collar, Julie Bolgren, rounding out for individual units in the month through year to date through May. Year-to-date individual volume, Oberbrunner leading the way, Molitor, Allison Maris, Judy Moffett, Elena Zeman, Joey Carini, Becky Thomas, Jean Shizgowski, Kristen Stahulik, Abby Wall, Melissa Bradley, Mary Deacon, Lindsay Andrews, Shireen Woods, Robin McCormick, Sarah Dreyer, Carla Florence, Michaela Collar, Mary Walgren, Alexandra, rounding it out for individual volume year to date. All right, May team volume, FRG leading the way with Houseworks Collective right on their heels. Team Trimble, Root River, SRG, House to Home, On Point, MTM Collective, Duval, Fair Hinton, PFPG, Revolution, Levine, Kindred, Bark River, the Gossman, the Thai Team, Dietrich, Sweeney, Blackstone, and the Wessels for the month May team volume. Year-to-date team units, Houseworks Collective leading the way, Root River right on their heels, FRG, House to Home, SRG, On Point, Retino Kuiper, PFPG, MTM, A Key Home, Revolution, Fair Hinton, Duval, Wessels, Desties, Double Bolt, Champagne, the Thai Team, Wilds, and Dietrich Sweeney rounding it out. And here you go, year-to-date team volume through the month of May. FRG, Houseworks, SRG, House to Home, Root River, On Point, Gallagher Lake Country, Retino Kuiper, Double Bolt, PFPG, Fair Hinton, Duval, MTM, the Thai Team, A Key Home, Revolution, Champagne, the Wessels, Team Trimble, and Desties. Guys, go tell your stories. If you aren't, don't allow others to tell it for you. That's my challenge for you because we're having a ton of success and the community has been broadened by the level of productivity that you guys are having. Lean on each other as you navigate these complex markets. Last week, I shared with you guys the lower report in terms of the productivity report for the month of April. I shared with you year-to-date performance versus the Metro MLS that talks about the level of productivity and the culture of productivity within our environments. I got to give a shout out to you guys because our results are a reflection of your results. And I shared with you the brokerage results so far, and I had a request to look at Kenosha and Walworth counties as well. So I wanted you to know that Kenosha and Walworth counties is this chart in here, and we have also added it to the lower report, as well as last week's team meeting, which has been uploaded to the KW Realty MKE website. With that, then, I wanted to share with you, for those that were paying attention, on June 21st, we dropped $108,000 into agents' bank accounts for profit share, which brings us to a year-to-date total of $270,000 in profit share shared out so far this year. An incredible number. Nearly almost 40% of all profit share was paid out so far year to date on June 21st. So if you missed it, check your mailbox for mailbox money. All right, with that, compliance team, here we go. We got a little compliance updates.
Good morning, everybody. What we're going to be covering today is some reminders on the inspection contingency. Steph and I have had a lot of questions regarding inspections, and so we've decided to do kind of a deep dive into all the elements of the inspection contingency. And the others will be on our contract training Mondays at noon on Zoom. So these are some very common questions, and I just want to review them all as good reminders. The licensed inspector tester can go alone into a house to do the inspection. He is qualified. He can also be there with the buyer and just the inspector. So that's key question. People are not sure about that, but the inspector can be there alone with the buyer during the inspection, with or without the buyer's agent. Sellers can be in the house, but preferably not with the inspector and buyer. Friends and family members of the buyers are not included in the inspection. Please try to keep handiwork dads from attending the inspection. Preferable that the buyer's agent is at the inspection to hear the inspector's inflections, cautions, and instructions. You know, all you're going to look at is the inspector's report. There's a lot missing in how the inspector delivered that message. So it's critical and responsible to attend your inspections. And next. You should always deliver the inspection report as soon as you get it to the listing agent and the seller, whether there are no problems or not. A lot of misunderstanding about that. They think, well, we're not going to ask for anything in the inspection. He doesn't need to see the report. Yes, it's in the contract. The seller gets the inspection report no matter what. Your responsibility is to take notes, pay attention to the inspector's instructions, and attention to the defects discovered. This is very important that you are there at the time when the inspector is seeing a previously maybe not known defect. Compare the inspector's report to the seller's real estate condition report. Take note of the phrase, the extension of which. The wrecker can say something like little dribbles of water during heavy rain, and then the inspector finds significant staining and significant evidence of heavy water. So that's the extent of which. The reality is to a greater extent than the wrecker. Take note of any recommended follow-up inspections that is in the inspector's report or dialogue. Do follow-ups within the inspection time frame or ask for an extension. Okay, next one. To inspect, not to inspect. I've got a copy of the actual form that we use, and it is a buyer acknowledgement of not doing a home inspection. The buyer says, I don't want to do it. I want the seller to not have to worry about that. I'll take on anything that comes up. So then you hand this buyer this form so that he signs it, and that's exactly what it says. So while we're still in a competitive market, many areas still are, your offer must give incentives to the seller in order to choose your offer. So your buyer may consider to NA an inspection contingency. And if so, have the buyer fill out this form. It's very important. If it goes to court and everything, and the buyer comes out in court and says, well, I didn't realize how important an inspection was, or I didn't know that this is what I would find out. You're sitting there with a big liability. So make sure you have this form filled out. Next one. Again, under the inspect and non-inspect, as a buyer's agent, this form must be completed and signed by buyer along with the offer. Today, our offers are being split about 50-50, 50% financing, 50% non-financing. So it depends on the competitive market. It depends on your buyer, but make sure your buyer is educated and fills out the form. Buyers may also consider adding a request to have an inspection for information purposes only. That means that they cannot have the notice of defect protections at all. They just learn if there are any defects, and it is assumed that they will take care of them. But they can't use that inspection for instruction purposes only as a way to file a notice of defects. It can be very expensive and risky not to have an inspection. I've seen it happen over and over and over. This amendment will be sent to the lender who may think you cannot afford to take the risk. In the following weeks, we will continue a deep dive into inspections in Monday's contract training at noon on Zoom. Steph and I'll go into the cap in the AC form and all of the other elements of the inspection, right to cure, no right to cure, whatever. So I just have one final reminder. Oh, it didn't make it. The WRA Form 50 is the brand new, excuse me, it's the brand new showing permit that if you don't have a buyer agency with a buyer, you need to fill out this brand new WB 50 form. So the due date, mandatory date for that is July 1st. It's very simple. It's very self-explanatory, but you must use this form starting July 1st. And that's it.
Sheriff Reed, thank you for providing a few reminders. As always, this is one of our highest liabilities in terms of why E&O gets utilized or triggered, and a lot of it has to do with non-disclosure of things or things that were found out that later came to light and that weren't disclosed. So making sure that we're paying attention to our reports and the pre-listing home inspection that might be provided to you in advance. With that, I'm flipping it over to Linz. Linz, what do these guys need to know as it relates to tech and marketing? And I'm coming back up, Linz. Sorry.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. All right, so I wanted to highlight a specific section within Command, and it was fitting today because we talked about cappers, and a really important feature that is part of Command is where you can find out your capping progress. So within Command, you have a section called My Profile, and it houses a lot of contact details that you can go in and edit and manage. So next slide, Charlie, I've got some screenshots up on the screen here. So when you click on your name, you log into Command, you click on your name, you're gonna have My Profile as an option. So when you click into that, like I said, it's gonna house a lot of your basic contact information, but it's also gonna give you the ability to change your Keller Williams username or password. So I know a lot of us have sometimes, wanted to update a password, a username, make it a little bit more simple, make more sense to you. You can also manage your KW email within this section. You can edit your emergency contact information, and then you can also view and change your profit share bank account. So a lot of those details, really important stuff, all within this profile in Command. And then most importantly, and I get this question a lot, and it's really important to know exactly where to find this, is where you can see and track that cap status. So the next slide, within that same profile, you're going to scroll down, navigate to My Affiliations, and choose your market center. So this is where you're going to find a chart similar to the one you see on the screen detailing your company dollar split, cap, and anniversary date, as well as your royalty date, cap, and anniversary date. So all of those details housed directly within your command account. So make sure you check that out. Like I said, I get a lot of questions where you can find this information, and it's always going to be there.
The other thing, Lynn's, too, is this is now being updated in real time as we close deals. So if you're curious on a deal by deal basis, this is updated in real time.
Yep. All right. Another reminder for the Keller Williams Milwaukee store. So this, we have another couple of weeks until it closes on June 30th at 11:59. So I know a lot of you, are out on the golf course, maybe get a new KW Milwaukee golf polo, show that off, that swag. So that store is open until June 30th until 11:59 p.m. So a lot of great stuff in there, you guys. I know a lot of orders have been coming through, so take advantage of that. And then another couple of reminders. Next slide. Maybe. Oh, okay. All right. So we've got a really fun training coming up this Thursday, June 26th at 11 with Charlie Walker. We're getting real about reels. So taking a deep dive into Instagram reels, how to create them, how to utilize Instagram templates to kind of make it easier on you guys if you've never done a reel, how to plug and play content and create something really engaging for your followers on Instagram. So really great training. I'm excited for this one on the 26th at 11. It's on Zoom, so check that out. And I think that's all I got. Thank you.
So thanks, Linz. Appreciate you diving in. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up with some training, education, and events, and I'm going to talk about summer slip and slides. Ready? Here we go. So month of June, here we go. Last week heading into June here, we're running Accelerator and Tow this week. Excited to be pouring into this group this morning. And you will be seeing the July come out. We've been talking about this. A great event for you to host for your clients in a very simple way is the June 28th event in the Milwaukee Southwest parking opportunity. Feel free to take advantage of it. Again, when you host client events, the pre-event marketing and the post-event marketing is more important than the day of execution. Remember that. Most people lose sight of that. Next up, volunteers. A few volunteers needed. Bridge to Brighter, as we talked about last week, just acquired another 4-unit property in order to take in more young men who are transitioning out of foster care. And they asked for our help and support in helping clean up the outside so we can transition a few more men into their program. If you would like to participate and volunteer, a handful of us will be out there on July 17th. There will be a morning crew for 3 hours and an after crew at noon for 3 hours. So feel free to register. Next is we're in business with the whole person. That includes you and your family, your spouses, your partners, your husbands, your wives, and your kids. And we're hosting a little family picnic, Keller Williams Family Day at Camp Bar at State Fair. Not during the State Fair, but at the State Fair, centrally located. Everyone's invited Thursday, the 21st from 3 to 7. Please register. There'll be live music, carnival games, kid-friendly activities, food trucks, beverages, live, so on and so forth. Look forward to seeing you there. Lastly, it's not average camp, it's mega camp. That's all I need to say. All right. So I'm going to leave you or finish off the morning with this. Is in the summertime, especially with the heat wave that we had, slip and slides seem to be a popular activity. Are they not? And yet there are some inherent risks in slip and slides. Check it out.
Oh, damn!
Oh, you're flying! Really bad! Turn! Oh my gosh! Oh!
So here's my message to you as it relates to slip and slides. The last several years, we've always historically thought that the apex of the market, and I talked about this last week, the apex of the market is always June, July-ish. Last year, the apex of the market was May. And last week, when we looked at the year-to-date data and the May over May data versus prior years, I led with a comment that said, pay attention to see if we might be in the apex. And the reason why I shared that with you and then said I would look into this data more to help you be prepared for what we are going into in the back half of the year is we are now in what I would consider to be the summer slide. And what I want to caution you against is the inherent risks and slip and slides that we showed. And I used it as a metaphor to say you don't want your business to crash and burn because you aren't paying attention. And this isn't to scare you. It's more so to say we need to be in tune with where the market is and where the market's going. And I believe May was the apex of the market. And I'm going to share with you some data as to why I believe that to be so, to help you avoid potential pitfalls of the summer slip and slide. Make sense? So let's take a look at some of the data. Okay. This is new units on a weekly basis. One sec. I'm just going to stop sharing so I can get back into the presentation. This is May weekly, the latest 24-week weekly data. Okay. Now, I'm paying attention to this, but this is new unit inventory. You can see new units, for all intents and purposes, drive our business forward. You can't sell homes unless there's more homes that come to the market. It seems or appears through the first 3 weeks of June, we might have hit the apex, and we're starting to see the summer slide as it relates to new inventory units. This is the units that have gone under contract. It is not nearly as big of a arc of a curve through the first 3 weeks of June as new inventory units, but you can see units going under contract is following a similar arc. Over the last 24 weeks, you can see the ascension going back to the first week of January through effectively middle of May, and then you can start to see potentially the summer slide begin to occur in terms of units that went under contract. Sales absorption rates, again, this is a percentage of inventory that goes under contract. We measure this metric, or we watch this metric as an understanding of how competitive the market can be and those that go under contract versus total inventory. And you can start to see the summer slide beginning to occur. And yet, at the same token, we are starting to see expired listings go up exponentially. And you can see here, last week, there were 156 units that went expired, and you can see the trend lines over the latest 24 weeks of where that sits. And last week I shared, and then you can see here that total inventory is rising slightly as some of the demand is softening a bit. And last week I shared with you some of the data as it relates to different price bands and what had been happening from a pricing perspective, and how pricing is not softening, but not appreciating at the plus 10% that we had not historically, but over the last 2 to 3 years had gotten used to. And so my challenge to you as we're sitting here in middle of June is making sure that you're staying ahead of trends within the business and that you're approaching your business appropriately, because there's a couple of hard facts and truths. Days on market since May of 21, and again, I'm going back to the peak of the market, are up 33%. They're up 20% since May of 2022. Again, I provide that perspective because I hear it, and trust me, I've lived it. When a listing agent takes a listing on a Thursday and by Sunday it's not sold, people are starting to freak out. It's providing appropriate perspective. Remember, as it relates to pricing and value, a home is the answer to a value question. What does the buyer value within the property? A home will sell for is the answer to a sales price question. So the considerations that you need to be paying attention to is we are in the middle of the summer slide. The most successful agents become masters of pricing and masterful in getting their sellers to trust their findings and act. Trust their findings and act. Buyers are always looking for value. It doesn't matter the market. The best way to serve a seller is to persuade them to outthink the other sellers they must be competing against. Okay? So 7 maxims for pricing. 1, be a student of your market. Know your numbers. 2, focus on your main comps on activities. Pendings and solds may already be out of date. They're going to be out of date in June and July. Be a student of property. Preview them so you understand what is selling and why. 4, keep your presentations as current as possible. Let your ongoing research do the talking. 5, pre-qualify for motivation. 6, price ahead of the market to avoid chasing it. And 7, always secure price reductions in advance to avoid falling behind the market. Now, the reason why I share this to you now in June, and I shared with you the latest 24-week trend lines, is so that the last 3 weeks in the question I pose is, are we starting to see the summer slide? Is that you don't slip and slide, okay? Because remember, our mindset 90 days out, being August, is 76% of the year is complete. And we need to be focusing right now in terms of our activities of if you're behind the 8 ball as it relates to your goals, your ambitions, and what it is that you're desire to achieve, is you need to increase the intensity and frequency of your activities to change the output of your income. And a very simple model for that is the reset model. Reflect and decide your future, evaluate your priorities, simplify, not overcomplicate, establish a plan, and time how are you going to spend it. The reset model is highly important right now as you think about that we should be 76% of the way through the year as it relates to our activities. And if you need to change the output, you have to change the input, and the input is your activities. Okay? And if you want extraordinary results, you have to take a pulse on where you stand. Are you on track? Are you crushing it? Or are you feeling behind and hopeless? Don't give up, just get clear. Where are you and where are you going? Because you don't want to end up like these people. The challenge of it is many of you have been running 100 miles an hour since February, March timeframe, and yet the slip and slide effect could be real where all of a sudden the market changes, you aren't ready for it, and your business changes on overnight. Stay ahead, be prepared, we're going to help you do that. Make sense? Sharpen the axe, sharpen the axe, sharpen the axe. With that, guys, it's a beautiful Tuesday in Milwaukee. Thanks for showing up. Guys, have a great day.